basically, if my future performance continues to match the past results, there should be no question. I should be able to replace my entire working income by the time I retirement. Okay, well, as you already said, my name is Mike Minnick. I'm 56 years old, been married for 35 years, college professor, hoping to retire in about 3 years. I've traded equity options since the late 1980s, but future options only since I did the blank check trading system about 10 months ago, I guess it was. So I, lot of experience with options, but not as much, nearly as much with the futures options.
Okay. So when you first heard about the course, what was it that appealed to you about it?
Mostly just diversification. I've been doing all the equity options. As a matter of fact, I don't remember exactly when I sent the email to you, but I sent an email to you because you had been, I've been involved in a program that you had with equity options, and I sent you an email asking if you were, ever going to do something with, or had something that you'd done, some kind of program with futures options. At that time you said, no, you hadn't, but you were just getting ready to start, so stay tuned. And it was like within a month of that. But I was ready at the time because I wanted to diversify into something different, and basically, but sticking with the options. And so that's basically, as far as I knew, the only other place to go besides the equities was into futures, real stuff, not just. Because futures options obviously deal with real stuff like cocoa and gold and oil and stuff that you can actually hold and has real value. So, on the upside, the blank check trading system gave certain specific rules. You get in at this delta, you get out at this delta, you get out at this price to take your profits. If it moves by this percentage, you look to do this. Not, to me that was very nice that I could just say, okay, I can look, did it do this? Is it doing this? Whatever. And if so, then make the trade.
Okay, cool.
And so I really like that there were very specific rules that it took you several years to learn, but I could learn them and learn to apply them within weeks or months.
Right. Have you been on any of the group coaching calls?
I have been on one or maybe two. I know for sure one, and I can't remember if I've been on a second one.
Okay, because I know that at least the last couple ones, we are spending more and more time on the technical part of it.
I read Facebook, yes, and I need to go back. Those are all recorded, right?
Yes, sir.
I need to go look at those, and when I saw them on Facebook page, I said, well, that's something I need to make time to do, and I will.
And the technical analysis training is also completed, and it's also in the members area, so you can check that out as well.
Right.
Cool. So what did you find as a result of actually taking the course?
Well, mainly as I mentioned before, they were fairly simple techniques. It wasn't like, you had to go through all these convolutions of figuring out, well, if it's this, go this way. It's not like one of these flow charts that you got to follow. Well, if it's yes, this, and no, this, and maybe this, you go then. It was like, here's where you get in, here's where you get out to limit your loss, and here's where you get out to take your profit. And all those statistics are very readily available on, my option trading platform, and so just made it very straightforward to me.
Okay.
So to do it, I appreciate straightforward, simple trading rules. Well, if they are have a tolerance for risk, some people, I talk to some people, they won't even invest in the stock market because the stock market's just too risky. Well, if the stock market's too risky for you, then you don't want to, you probably don't want to, because, the stock market comparatively is not going to go up and down usually. There's been some big crashes, obviously, but usually not like, but for people who express that, yeah, they're willing to do that, I'd say go for it. And matter of fact, if it's a relative, my wife and I even talked about that after we get this down a while, and some of our children, especially that we have a couple that are married and a few that are going to be getting married very soon. Looks like anyway. Helping them get started in it. If they're interested in doing that. I would not. I would never. Or at least I hate to say what you'd never do, because you say that and then you end up doing something you say you'd never do. But I mean, my plan would not be to just say, well, I'll place the trades for you. You just supply the money, I'll do the account for. I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if any of my children were willing to say, yep, I'll take the time that you took to learn the system, to figure out how to do it, and understand what's going on, understand what options are all about, what oil is about, and so forth, then I'd be willing to help them and do it. So not only encourage them to do it, but I'd be willing to get in and help them do it too as well, because I think it's a great system.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that would be such an amazing gift for a child, since that you've been doing it, you know what to do it, you can take it, and you can be kind of their personal mentor right there. And if they can actually pick up something like this, it doesn't even have to be this, it could be anything. But if they can find a way that before they get to college, or maybe in college, where they can take a little bit of money and then they can make it grow on their own without having to get a job, right? What kind of world does that open up for them, right? Because I know a lot of my friends that I went to school with, and I'm sure you're a professor, you see this all the time, right? College kids nowadays, they don't know what major to pick, and a lot of the majors they pick are based on what job they can get and how much money they can make. But if you're have that some kind of skill like trading, that you can make your money on your side, and you can go and study whatever you want, go live wherever you want in the world, and not be shackled with the debt and the 9 to 5, the grind. That's what they call it.
Right. The rat race.
The rat race, exactly. Yeah.
Matter of fact, now that you mention students and college students, I'd forgotten about this, but I actually had a student graduated from our program just this past May, and I don't know how we figured this out, got talking about it, but it turned out he was an options investor as a college student. Now, he was an options buyer, not an options seller, and he probably, with his amount of money that he had that he could do, it'd probably been difficult for him to get into what I'm doing. But nonetheless, I told him about the issues with option selling, and why I felt like option selling was a better deal for him. And I said, you really need to look into that. And of course, we didn't have much time to talk about it, because I just found out about it shortly before he graduated. But so I've already had an opportunity to encourage one person in college to get involved with that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know a few years ago I had a member of OptionGenius who wrote in, and he basically said that he was teaching his 14-year-old daughter how to trade options, sell options, and that she was doing amazingly well, and that she did so well that her uncle actually gave her, I think it was $25,000 to play with. And wow. She was doing, phenomenally well month after month, and that he wrote in because he was saying, hey, thanks for exposing us to this stuff and for teaching us, because now, she's going to be able to pay for college with this $25,000 account, which I thought that was incredible, But, okay, so, I mean, we talked a little bit, you mentioned a little bit about the riskiness of the oil and, the options on oil. How do you feel about that after you've taken the course versus what you thought about it before you took the course?
Well, let's first start out with the fact that both my wife and I have always been quite risk tolerant. We have some money that we inherited from my dad when he passed away a few years back, and we just kept it where it was with a I won't say the name of the company, but it's a well-known financial company, and have a certified financial planner who communicates with us fairly regularly about the funds there. And he sent us something that we did independently. It was basically to evaluate your risk, how averse you were to risk or how tolerant you were to risk. and my wife and I both did it separately and then put our scores together. I think we only disagreed on one question. All the rest of them were the same. And our score came out to be like in the low 90s, which 100 would mean, you're as risk averse as you can get, and 0 means you can't tolerate any risk. So we were both, way up there. And so I don't think the course itself changed our willingness to take the risk of selling oil options. In other words, they say, oh, well, I wasn't willing to take the risk, and now I am now. We were willing to take it before and willing afterwards. But however, what the course did do is it made me feel that selling naked oil options wasn't as risky as I originally thought. I mean, when you mention the words sell naked options, I think, wow, that's about as risky as you can get. But with the rules you gave and with the performance, it's kind of really if you follow a set of rules and along with, of course, I don't remember the terminology. You have to fill in the terminology that they don't allow oil to go up or down over a certain amount each day. They'll close the trading down. Mm-hmm. And I've looked at that on the internet, but there's a name for it. But
the lock limit.
Lock limit. Thank you. And basically that's one thing that makes them not as risky. But just the fact of selling options that are way out of the money and just makes it where it's, like I say, I thought coming into the course terribly risky, awfully risky, but that's okay. I like risk. I came out of it. I still like risk, but this isn't as risky as I thought it was. This will be nice. I can hopefully earn this money and not be as risky as I thought I was going to be.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. That was my thinking as well when I first started. I didn't touch commodities for a long time because of that. I stayed with equity options. But then I was just out there trying to find something different. Like you said, a little bit diversification, a little bit maybe something that is more controlled than the stock market, with the ups and downs. Because even with the technical analysis in the stock market, you really can't be that accurate. Technical analysis, it works better with commodities themselves. And so when I moved over, at first I thought it was, this is going to be really risky, but I'll try it with a little bit. And I found the same thing you did, that it wasn't as bad as I expected. And it might even be a little less risky than the options of the stock market, in my opinion at least. So now that you've taken the course, you've been doing the trades for a few months, has it changed anything for you in terms of your outlook on the future or your trading or anything like that?
Well, that same certified financial planner I talked about, as well as higher education faculty in West Virginia, when I came on, you had the opportunity to be with the state teachers retirement system, which my thought of that was, do I want to put the future of my retirement in the hands of politicians? No, I don't want to do that. Or you could send it out of state to an organization called TIA-CREF, which is CREF stands for College Retirement Equities Fund. Basically, it's a place for people in education to put the money. It's got mutual funds. And what you do is you invest, instead of what the normal one that a lot of people go into, the 401k, this instead is like a 401a, 403b, something like that. But it's a similar type thing. You invest off of mutual funds. But anyway, both the person with TIA-CREF and my certified financial planner both analyzed and said, well, if you want to retire when you want to retire, and you live to win the actuarial table, say you're going to live, you're just a little bit short right now. You're just a little bit short with putting Social Security together, with the TIA-CREF money, with the money that that inherited money. You're just a little bit short.
Wow, that sounds scary.
It was a little bit short. So I looked at this, so I could say, well, I could work a couple more years, and that would take care of it, But basically, as far as my outlook on the future from doing this trading, if my future performance continues to match the past results, which of course there's no guarantee of that, there should be no question. I should be able to not only be able to last as long as they predict I'm going to live, but I should be able to replace my entire working income by the time I retirement. I shouldn't even have to touch any of the IRA, the 401b, Social Security, whatever. Obviously, when I get eligible Social Security, I'm not going to turn it down. But nonetheless, what I'm saying is that, if the performance continues, then within a few years, I should be able to easily and more replace my entire income.
That is amazing. Oh, congratulations. I didn't know that. That's
we'll
wonderful.
See whether that worked. Talk to me in a couple of years, and we'll see whether that worked out.
Yeah, right. But you're on the track, right? So even if it doesn't work out, you still have that confidence that you can do it, kind of, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now through 10 months, my overall gain is 63% through 10 months. So, that's when you're doing that, you're getting close to. My first few months, I didn't trade nearly as much, and I lost money in 3 of the first 4 months. So we're learning. So basically, it's getting close. It's getting close to doubling your money every year. It's not there yet, but it's close to that.
Right.
So if you can double your money every year, it doesn't take you very long to.
No, it doesn't.
Replace your income, unless you're Bill Gates, And I'm not even in that conversation. So.
No, but that's awesome. I love that. That whole, it goes back to the freedom part, right? If you're not worried about it, because I get emails every day from people that are in a boat where, something has gone wrong and they're close to retirement or they're in retirement, and their biggest concern is, I don't have enough money to survive. And it's a very scary proposition. Luckily, you did take you did take action. You got into options, and then you got into this course early enough before retirement so that you can learn it and do it, so that when you get close to retirement, you won't have as much worry, just because you have more skills than the average person. So kudos to you for that. Very happy to hear that. Wonderful. So
a consequence of that, of course, one of the things I've been looking into is if this continues to be more and more successful, looking into tax consequences. But that's a totally different issue, and there's all kinds of possible answers to that. But
there's the different things you can do. I mean, already the futures options, they already get the benefit tax. I don't know what it's called. I forgot the number. It's 1256 or something like that, where they get
something I forget.
Yeah, I don't remember the number of it, but it's 60% is taxed at long-term rates and then 40% at short-term. But going further, you could do even a little bit more. You could start a company and then trade out of the company, and then you can take deductions out of that and whatnot.
I'm looking into if this continues well, to do something like with a limited liability partnership type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.